We're joined now by Dr. Ofer Grosbard, a clinical psychologist, as well as the author of The Cultural Code, a series published by Ben-Gurion University, joining us from Haifa. Such a difficult day, and another difficult day, and an emotional day as well. On the one hand, we've seen already 5 hostages returned back home to Israel, 4 of them after 505 days, one of them after 10 years inside the Gaza Strip. From a psychologist's perspective, the emotions that people are feeling, how can they begin to even walk through the different emotions and the pain and sometimes the gratitude that they're feeling today?
Thanks for inviting me. You're talking about the hostages, about the Israeli people, it's, in any case, it's a complicated issue. Think about being in the tunnels of Hamas for months, and then suddenly you are exposed to the media. Every single word or movement you do, the whole country sees it, and the euphoria around you. So from the depression of the tunnel to the few days of euphoria, and then you are not anonymous anymore in the country. All those upheaval, it's so difficult to contain it. And then dealing with the trauma you went through. When you are in the tunnels of Hamas for more than a year, there are many deep psychological processes that take place. Stockholm syndrome, that you identify with your aggressors because you're helpless and they are like your parents, and when you want to go to the toilet or eat, you need them. So everyone gets into a regressive position, and how you deal it when you go out, it's very complicated, all those processes, and it takes a long time, to recover, and it depends very much on your psyche at the time you got into the tunnel.
On that note, also, Dr. Grosbard, we're talking about the 3 men, Omer Shem Tov, Omer Venkert, and Elia Cohen, as well as Tal Shoam, who were all kidnapped on October 7th. But for Aver Mengistu, you talk about their mental health state when they entered Gaza in the first place. This is a man who has a known history of mental health diagnoses. And so for someone like Avera, as well as Hisham Al-Sayed, who's also expected to be released today, how can they begin their road to recovery with already this history of mental health?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, when you start in a low position, if you have some kind of emotional problems, you are not so strong. So the chances of regression and identifying with the aggressor and all those things that we know that happen in very cruel and long captivity are much more stronger with a person that doesn't have the ability to handle it. So these people were sick before they were kidnapped. And it will be not so easy to rehabilitate them. It's a long process, no doubt.
And what about for their family members? Not only the family members of Aver Mengistu and Hisham Al-Sayed, who have been waiting for more than a decade for this reunion, but also that of Tal, Omer, and Elia, who have been waiting for 16 months. How can these family members not only help with the rehabilitation process for their loved ones, but help in rebuilding their own mental health and coping through their own trauma as well?
Yeah, it's a very good question. The viewers, can try to imagine if someone of their family were kidnapped. So first of all, there are a lot of guilt feelings throughout this year and a half. Maybe they feel they don't do enough to release their dear ones, and they try to fight, but it doesn't work for a long time. So how can I do more than that? So the guilt feelings. And then where these family members are released, they try to do the best for them, but then every movement, every word they say, they examine themselves. Is it right or wrong? Or they try to be very, very sensitive. Think about being a side of a person who is very sick or something like this. So you try to do your best, but all the time you are not free to behave as you feel because you're all the time are tuned to the other person. So it's very difficult also for the families, you know. And now for a long process, they have to adjust themselves to the released hostages. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all to be beside someone that went through this process.
It is an incredibly long and emotional recovery journey for the
No
hostages,
doubt.
the families, and the Israeli public who has been watching this as well. Dr. Ofer Grosbard, thank you for joining us and giving us your professional opinion on how people can continue to move
Thank you for
forward right now.
inviting me.
Thank you.